Good evening guys, it's James here from Axopar London Group and Sunseeker Brokerage, and this evening we're going to take a look around a brand new to market Axopar 28 cabin. So this is the current model, it's a 2021 boat that we delivered in October 2020, so end of last season, first time owners, used extensively here on the south coast through the last season, and she's now up on the market. So just behind me here is Galley. So just spin around behind me, you can see her here in the water. Little impromptu visit from the Swan here with us this evening. So she's a grey hull, as you can see, with a Brabus line trim, which means the black rails around the sides, and the Brabus line detailing as always. Lots of videos of these on my channel, but rare to have such a new boat come up for sale. So the owners are going larger, so hence why she's now up on the open market. So we will include as part of a sale a full engine service. She had her anodes and anti-foul done in July this year. So she's powered by the most common and most popular naturally aspirated 4.6 litre Mercury 300 horsepower V8 engine. You can see on the back there, switchable exhaust system. As always, very efficient. These run about 40 knots, wide open throttle, but very, very comfortable cruise in the sort of 25 to 35 knot range. So she has, as you can see on the back here, the day cruiser aft cabin package, which means she will in theory sleep up to 4 people, an enclosed bathroom in the front, and a very high spec that we'll have a look through in a little more detail as we walk around. So starting at the back, you can see we've got the Brabus line finish on that Waterski frame, handy for towing your wakeboards and what have you, and contrasts really nicely with the detailing on things like the cleats here. You can see we've got the Brabus logos, and they run around those optional side rails. Gives the boat real sure-footed feel as you're walking around if you're underway. We've got the S-Tech decking package, so standard was on the bathing platforms. We've got the option here taking it all the way around the decks. Lovely grey with white caulking detail. To keep the cushions out all year round, we've got a protective covers pack that sits over here. I'll insert a picture here just so you can see how that works. So you don't need to take all the cushions off when you come back in. Makes the boat very easy to put to bed at the end of a day out on the water. Obviously with the practicality of the cabin arrangement, meaning that you can shut the doors, diesel heating system on, and the boat is fully functional 365 days a year. So up top we've got the frame that would take an optional radar. Original owner not electing to take this as the boat's only been used locally here in the Solent, but we've got the option to put the radar in here. There's a remote control spotlight you can add here if you ever wished. Obviously part of the Mark III Axopar 28 look. You can see here we did away with the scaffolding arrangement of the handrails running around the roof, and it now has this moulded in, very easy to grab hold of, but doubles up also as a deck drain up on the roof there. We've got the optional crossbars, which are handy for carrying your paddle boards or mountain bikes and what have you. The big opening section you see in the middle here, currently with its protective cover on there, so just a few poppers to take off, and that whole section lifts off to show the electric roof mechanism underneath. So the boat can be transformed into an open cockpit feel at the touch of a button. As you see here, the doors now slid all the way back. You've got a lovely big opening straight through the middle of the boat there. So coming in single-handed, you've got a cleat right next to you, so you could just have a single short line on there, get the boat tied up without needing to have any crew with you. Coming around on the front, you can see now Silvertex premium pack, so that means we've got the table with the drop down. There's an infill cushion to turn this into a sunbed, and this is the standard Silvertex sterling colour, which is the light silver upholstery, which matches inside as well. So the boat originally was kept on a dry stack here in Swanwick, but the owners were using the boat so much they elected to go for a wet berth, so she's been in the water here with us through the course of the season. Of course, a berth going forward is no problem here at Swanwick, and she will dry stack quite happily at any of the South Coast facilities or beyond. Up in the bow, you can see she's got the optional beautiful stainless steel anchor there, linked up to an electric winch, which means anchoring up obviously is a lot more straightforward than the manual setup. And a full assortment of fenders and warps means she is very much turnkey and get out on the water and enjoy the rest of this autumn season. So the engine is hydraulic electric steering with digital throttle and shift, so very easy to manoeuvre. Obviously being a single engine, only one motor to service. We have a full protective covers pack that goes around the windows as well, which is still in the bag, never been used, which is a grey canvas colour. Aft lockers here, we have the optional aft refrigeration unit there in the port side locker. Then we have a pull-out transom shower here. Boat will of course be fully detailed before we hand it over. We've got a socket here for the ensign staff. Upgrade on the stereo system, so we've got speakers here at the back, speakers up forward, as well as an optional subwoofer and an amplifier, making it great for entertainment out on the water. Over here on the starboard side, handy deck locker for storing your fenders. You can see a couple of extra lines in there. She has a 45 litre freshwater tank for the sink underneath the seat in the cabin, as well as the bathroom up forward and that aft shower. So built into the front of the cabin here is the signature Axopar heads compartment. So great use of space, very compact but functional. So say sink over here on the left hand side looking in forward. We've got the electric flush toilet system, which has a black water tank hidden up underneath this panel. You can see the little bank of switches there for the main breakers. Handy coat hooks up on the top there, so whether you store your life jackets, wet weather gear, what have you, makes it a very useful space. We've of course got a nice big rubber seal around here to keep the water out when the weather's not so good. So as I mentioned earlier, the table arrangement here can drop down. There's a set of short legs in the locker, and from the aft end of the table here comes across onto this plinth and gives you the ability to turn this area into a sun pad when you need to. Cushions are hidden in this locker here, so you can see the short legs clipped up here, and these are the sunbathing cushions. Then this is the bag with the covers for the windows. I say never been out of the packet. There's a handy storage bag here for the two bow cushions when they're not in use. Optional Shorepower system, so we've got the mains battery charger there for the 230 volt system, as well as the Shorepower socket plugged into the deck here. So just to show you how the anchor winch setup works, you can see a little control here. Part of the Mark III upgrade on the 28 was to go to a chain from the original leaded anchor rope, so we've got the gypsy winch here that will take rope or chain, but this particular one set up with the chain. And you can see the two dog catches there to secure it in place when you're underway at speed. LED navigation lights sat up forward here, and there is a protective cover again for this forward deck area, which I'll cut a picture in here so you can see how that works when the boat's not in use. Of course, you can use it with the covers up, so if you just come down and you want to run out for a winter's day, no problem at all to leave the covers in place. Down on the low level deck here, you can see the little blue lights, so she's very pretty at night, and there's a full bank of LEDs in the cabin itself. Hard to get the feel of how the colours work out here, but you see obviously the contrast of the grey roof on the white gel coat, and I'll cut a picture in here just to show the boat from her profile how it all works. You can see condition wise, obviously the boat is only 11 months old, absolutely immaculate. She still has over 4 years of Mercury engine manufacturer warranty, as well as just over a year of Axopar warranty for the major components on board. So coming back here, now we'll have a look inside. Start off with the helm, very ergonomic. Lots of videos, in fact a driving video of this particular boat on my channel, which I'll do a link to at the end, and you can see how everything works really nicely. It's a very intuitive boat. If we just sit here at the helm, you can see got absolutely acres of space up above me, feels very bright and airy, and an absolutely panoramic view here all the way around. So docking is an absolute cinch. Up on the dash, so given the boat was staying local, it's just got the single Simrad NSS display there. It's just got the single Simrad Go chart plotter there. Again, Simrad was a switch for the 21 season models. There's space in here if you wanted to add a second 12-inch chart plotter, which we could rearrange with one of the local Simrad dealers. Nice little bank of LED switches here for lighting, windscreen wipers and what have you, which you can see tucked up in the roof there. They also have washers, making it again useful on a not so nice day. Have the doors shut and it's still a very practical boat to use all year round. Part of the further AV upgrade on this boat, we've also got the dashboard controller, so it's the option AV1, 2 plus the dash control. It's also controllable through the plotter. We've got a DSC VHF which links into AIS here, so we've got a receiver set for the AIS. It is possible to retrofit a transceiver for those that want to broadcast their position as well. Coming across, we have trim tabs on the stern, the optional bow thruster up forward, which also has a remote control that you can see there. And again, a reference to the diesel heating we mentioned earlier, along with another remote for the stereo. So very well laid out. You can obviously see Brabus line trim here. We've got the nice Alcantara on the wheel, little Brabus detailing here on the handle. And if you want to get the steering wheel into a different position, obviously tilt this up, a little bit more like driving a bus, or drop it down for the sports car type feel with it in the horizontal position. As I mentioned earlier, digital throttle and shift, so very easy in and out of gear. You can see the control on the end of the stick there for the power trim itself. And we just turn the ignition on under the dash there, let the engine computer fire into life. We'll be able to show the engine hours as soon as the computer's gone through its startup phase. Other things to note, as part of the diesel heating, we've obviously got vents here to push air onto the windscreen, so handy as a sort of demist system. And again, condition wise, everything very, very nice. So engine's now flashed into life. You can see obviously all level is good, so we're 129.4 engine hours, and I'll just start it up. Literally kill cords in here, turn the key. Engine's very quiet, being a modern 4-stroke. Just come out here and you can hear it running in tick over. See telltale coming out of the side there. These engines are said to be about 10% more efficient on fuel than the supercharged Verados, and being electric hydraulic steering, you can see I can turn this from lock to lock with one finger. So very easy to handle. Another little funky thing on here, we have a sport exhaust system, so we turn that on, come back out, you can just hear the engine now running, a little bit more sporty sounding for those that like that sort of thing. Just going to turn her back off, obviously to keep the hours down. So Helm seats themselves, you can see obviously lift up bolsters here, so these give you extra space on the floor here. A little bit more practical, so stood up here now, you've got a little bit more of a better visibility out. Imagine yourself underway at speed. Boats ride very flat, they're a twin step hull with a very sharp dead rise. Then behind the two Helm and co-pilot seats, we have this very clever convertible back seat arrangement. So this seat is generally fixed in position, and you can see this seat now currently stored up into the ceiling. That gives us access into that day cruiser aft cabin that you see tucked under the back there. So we just come down in a little more detail, you can see all the way back in here. So we've got hatching from the aft sandpad up the back, so if you've got wakeboards and wake skates and what have you, easy to store them away. And we've got windows on the sides with blinds. So it is a very practical, usable overnight space, or for those just using it as a day boat, no problem at all, just as a storage area. Battery switches here, tucked up on the port side of the boat. So there's one service battery for all the domestic systems and one for engine start. You can see all the colours very neutral in here, standard Axopar fabrics, and everything is very, very good shape. So in terms of explaining how this back seat works, we literally have one catch underneath here, two up the top, and the seat cushion effectively flips over like so. Drop it into place, and you now have a fully functional back seat arrangement. Now you might think, how does that work when we stop? Well, the answer is that the Helm co-pilot seats spin round. So as long as we got these bolsters up in the position you currently see them, There's a handy little catch underneath. The seat literally spins round. And again, for the co-pilot, drop the bolsters back down. And we now have a nice social seating area. You've got the option for a teak top table, which we could fit in here if you wanted to retrofit it. And then you've got a nice area to sit out with the family and friends if the weather's not so good and you can't sit outside. Again, you can see speakers tucked down the back here as part of that upgraded AV. There's the bag full of all the manuals, so we'll ensure that the warranty's all transferred correctly. So a couple of other bits to note, further practicality in terms of how the boat's usage on the water works so well. So we just spin the seats back round, lock them back into place. A couple of catches here underneath and on the sides, and they drop forward to reveal a handy top loading cool box. You can see the cooling element in there, and a little sink. So cold running water, handy place to wash your cups up. And you can see the seat mechanism here to allow them to slide forward and aft to get into a nice comfy driving position. This is a very, very clever laid out boat. They've obviously evolved these from the early Mark 1 boats that were narrower, a little bit shorter, a slightly different hull design to what we have here. Say this is the current model Mark 3, which is going into the 2022 season now with very, very little change. There's literally some extra cushions outside and some different colour options on the upholstery, and apart from that the boat is staying as it is, such that she works so well. I'm not going to open the roof this evening. There's lots of videos I say on my channel to show how this works, but you can see the full electric Webasto roof system there, the switches up on the forward bulkhead, so it makes it very easy to convert the boat into an open feel when you wish. So absolutely loaded up, ready to go. This boat now, bearing in mind price increases coming for the 2022 season, we're looking about £170,000 for one of these, as she is now. This particular boat going on the market at 144,950 UK tax paid. She's got all the correct documentation, and she's here in the water now in Swanwick, ready to go. She actually was surveyed yesterday, so we have a full pre-purchase survey which is potentially reassignable to the next owner if they wish. Of course, if they want to take out their own independent survey, that's no problem at all. But she is very much, as we stand at the moment, start of September, the only Axopar 2021 model currently for sale anywhere in the UK, so great opportunity to get out on the water, and she isn't going to be around for long. So as always, if you'd like to know any more, it's james@axoparlondongroup.com, or mobile is +44 7747 686 587. Hope you've enjoyed that with us this evening. Please do get in touch if you'd like to know more.